Hey there! Did you know we have a Patreon? You can get early access to all of our content with any amount pledge. Consider it and spread the word. Now on to the show. Hello there, guys, and welcome to another episode of The Usual Spot. What will be probably the last episode of the year 2018 for this type of podcast for Batu. So we just wanted to kind of talk about different games that we played in 2018. Basically go in depth into stuff that kind of took us by surprise, stuff that we really enjoyed doing. It could be also game related. It doesn't have to be necessarily a specific game. But yeah, we just wanted to kind of just review the year in that sense, and eventually kind of talk about what we're looking forward to in the next year. By the way, thank you guys. If you've been hearing the podcast till now, thank you a lot for your support. If you haven't, there are many episodes that you can go back to and listen that I think that are very interesting. We have different topics, and we hope to continue doing it next year. We might do some changes, but right now we are kind of. I think we understand the groove that we're going for these kind of episodes. So you might see these kind of episodes appearing more, or maybe more often, and maybe even different types of episodes. But it has been a blast doing this for you guys. So anyway, thank you to those that have been watching or listening till now, and yeah, for those of you who are maybe joining for the first time, it's kind of weird that you're joining in this episode. But anyway, you can basically go back and listen to the other ones. They're not necessarily in any particular order, so you can listen to them as you like. But anyway, my name is Gary Casillas. I've been the host for The Usual Spot for basically every episode, I believe. And with me, I have two guests who have appeared in many of the episodes and have helped me out a lot throughout the months that we've been recording these episodes. And they are Carlo Rodriguez and Albith Delgado.
Hey guys.
If you guys can introduce yourselves again, just in case, right? So people know what you do. Carlo, you go first.
All right. So yeah, I'm Carlo Rodriguez. I'm currently teaching at the Interamericana de Fajardo in Puerto Rico, and I'm also co-founder of Batú Games with Gabriel Casillas.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much the gist of it.
And Albith?
Hey guys, Albith Delgado here, formerly a resident of Puerto Rico, and currently I'm teaching game development, also, media arts, creative programming. I'm doing all sorts of things related to creativity and computing in Wusong University in Daejeon, in South Korea.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. Again, it's super awesome that we have a guest that is basically all the way there from us. And when you told me the first time that you were interested in doing this, I didn't know if it would work out. But to be honest, I actually believe that your internet is better than ours in many ways. It's more reliable, at least. So
it's super fast, yes.
Yeah, I usually don't have problems with you, and I have problems with guests that are maybe a couple of I don't know, kilometers away from me in the same island of Puerto Rico. So, that's a problem for another podcast, maybe.
Internet is a funny thing.
Yeah, definitely. But anyway, guys, like before we start with games and stuff like that, again, as I said at the beginning, thank you a lot for your support for this podcast. I really enjoy talking to people about games and topics like this. So making this podcast was always just an excuse for me to be able to talk about these topics with somebody. and kind of tell them, yeah, we're gonna spend an hour at least talking about the topic, and yeah, just discussing many aspects of it. And I feel like I've learned a lot, to be honest, from everybody weighing in on their opinions about certain different topics, or even recommending different games, right? That maybe I had not played before. But is there any episode in particular that you guys were part of that you love the most, maybe, or maybe there was no, I don't know, like a particular moment that you liked from one of those episodes? Carlo, do you have one such thing?
Let's see. From ours per se?
Any episode that you kind of appeared in, right? You appeared in Why We Love,
Okay.
as well as The Usual Spot, right?
Exactly.
So is there any episode in particular that you like?
I like
most?
the educational, like, us as professors teaching and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah,
it was useful, like seeing from other people's perspectives, especially like you in South Korea.
Yeah.
It's completely different, and the areas we're not always in the same area in terms of what we're teaching. I wish, like, perhaps another time we could like go a little bit more into it, and even find other professors that would be willing to contribute.
I agree. That was a really
It's
interesting
definitely
episode.
an ongoing topic.
Yeah.
Because on one hand you have, I mean, because things are constantly changing, right? And with games are so appealing visually, and experientially, that you can't really sit still. As compared to, I don't know, maybe if you're teaching another field, something that's more theoretical or not as attractive visually, then maybe you don't have to be as up to date with some things. Like maybe, for example, you're teaching calculus, right? Or like a topic, like one of these fundamental topics in college. It's maybe you don't have to have a Steam account and be aware of what people are playing and things like that.
You don't have to study trends.
So there's trends, and then there's the technology is changing. That's one of the things, right? So you're teaching using a game engine, Unreal and Unity and the others, GameMaker are constantly changing. I mean, Unity is just daunting. It's a daunting piece of software.
It is. Just a couple of years ago, it was like, I know what Unity is. I know what it's got. Now it's like a whole.
and the bigger the software gets, I think the probability. I was going to say the probability for error, but also the probability of maybe of us as teachers missing something or missing a connection. It can go up. I guess, can I mention one thing related to that came out this year?
Yeah,
for instance.
Sure.
Well, like this year, Unity finally came out with a visual editor for a drag and drop editor for shaders. Okay. So before that Unreal has had this feature for a long time, but before that, most of the shader writing in Unity had to be coded. Okay. And it's a completely different language from C# or JavaScript. It's I forget the name. It's based on the CG language, so it's C based. It's a lot of math. So I was not teaching it in classes here because there's a huge learning curve.
Okay.
But then now it's come out and it's really cool. I mean, it's so easy. Like you can just watch a couple tutorials and just pick something up. But then at the same time, because it's not complete, it's kind of in beta form. It doesn't play well with some parts. So right now Unity has, there's shader support, and right now there's they're also adding like multiple rendering pipelines to Unity.
Okay.
So I guess I guess this year they really came out with a lot of graphics related upgrades.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, if you want to render a beautiful scene, now it's easier to do it in Unity. But then, like, for instance, I was teaching, and I didn't know that those two things, shaders and rendering pipelines, they're not playing well with each other at the moment. So,
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can run into a problem where, like, oh, this thing that used to work in an old Unity version, right? If you put it here, it's not going to work at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But shader, it's called the shader graph. Oh my God, it's really cool. Yeah.
No, yeah, we have seen them grow a lot, the different engines, and I think that also not only have we seen them grown and or grow, I should say, and be maybe be in competition with each other that much more, right? But I've seen many like big games being made in those engines instead of in-house engines. I know that's something that's been happening for a while, but for some reason I don't know why. But this year it was very prevalent that there were many games that for example, Kingdom Hearts is coming out and it's made in Unreal, which is kind of like,
oh wow,
like wow, yeah, like okay, so literally they kind of said, okay, we're done with in-house engines. We're just gonna use the ones that are already out there and make the most of them. And I think Unreal is kind of at the top at the moment, and Unity is kind of like getting up there as well. Because for example, there's a game that I'm gonna talk about when we talk about the games called Overcooked that was made in Unity, and that game was beloved by everybody. So it actually won an award, I think, in the Game Awards this year. So they're below Unreal, of course, but they are slowly creeping up there, And
so are you saying maybe that they could possibly drop Unity in the future and go and develop it in Unreal?
No. What I mean is that right now, many companies are using Unreal to make their big title AAA games, instead of just making their own. Because usually when you have this, I don't know, maybe you guys know more about this than I do, but as far as I understood it, when before, right, it was very uncommon for a big company to use a commercial engine that somebody made. Like they usually made their own engine and kind of. I know it was something about exclusivity or the idea that we know how to do an engine better than somebody else or something. Like for example,
also,
Square Enix had their own engine for the PS4 and all that. But eventually, again, and I know it's been happening for a while now. I don't think this is like the year that it happened or something. But I've been seeing it more prevalent. Like suddenly, there are a lot of big games that you can just check. Yeah, they're made in Unreal, and I think that's kind of like a shift a little bit because companies are kind of going, yeah, we're not gonna like waste money or time doing our own engine. We're just gonna go with the tried and true for Unreal. And Unity, again, Unity has been in competition with Unreal for a while, and they've always been kind of below them in terms of, again, I see way more many big games being made in Unreal than in Unity. But I feel like they're creeping up there. Like suddenly there are many small games that are getting bigger as time goes on. That are made in Unity as well. So we might see eventually like a divide between the big time developers that use Unity versus Unreal at some point. And that's kind of like the big difference between them.
Although I guess like Unreal, since it's also like tied directly to Epic Games, well, that gives it more of a push, I guess, market-wise in terms of that they are being used by top studios and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, and again, that's a topic for another day, of course, because there are many things that could be discussed about that. But yeah, I do feel like there's a lot. It has a lot to do with how easy it is to sell Unreal versus Unity to big companies. I think that Unity is mostly used by, right now at least, by indie developers that kind of want to get into it. Of course, Unreal is also one that they use, but I don't know. I see way more people, much more people willing to try out Unity from the indie side of things, right? But anyway, it's just interesting that I see I've seen like that shift suddenly in like the big games that I like or enjoy being made in Unreal or these engines that we use. You know, like it seems a little bit weird that. Yeah, I mean, like before it was kind of like, yeah, these engines could help you make something similar to that, but now they're making it in them, you know.
Yeah.
So like I don't know what like I don't know what the the expression for this is, but suddenly it became plausible to make those amazing games, or you know that you're using the right tools to make them, you know, like it's possible.
Yeah, for sure.
So it is interesting to me that is something that's happening. But by the way, yeah, you go.
I think this is just a trend that's been ongoing for a while, but I think because the first shift toward this kind of openness, being open to using new tools and other teams. Before this started happening, we were seeing the first thing that shocked me before this, and this was a couple years ago, was when like popular games from popular companies, right, popular franchises were being developed by other companies.
Okay. Yeah.
That was, I think, maybe that kind of preceded. That was kind of.
No, yeah, I understand.
To me, it was the start of it. Like, for instance, and maybe this is because of company culture, especially. Yeah. And from what I've read, Japanese company culture. I don't know if you guys have read Game Over. It's an old book now, but it's a history of Nintendo, and then you can see how. How concerned the Japanese teams were with privacy, right? Yeah, and just making sure that things stayed in house. So 20 years ago, it would be unthinkable to use like a commercial engine,
exactly,
or to even contract an outside team for some of the games. For like the Mario series had to be made in house, right? Yeah. The flagship series in your company had to be made in house. So the first time like I saw like Nintendo game being made by an outside company, such as Treasure or Sega, wow, that was a big shock. So, but I think this is kind of like the next natural step, right?
No, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, it's just interesting. Just interesting to me that like what some of the games that I'm looking forward to the most are being made in the same engine that I use,
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of
that's a cool feeling. That's a cool feeling. Cool way to put it, actually. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm not that far away from,
exactly. Yeah.
From what the pros are doing.
It feels achievable, like suddenly I don't know, it's interesting. But and I think that do you agree that I mean, you also like the episode of education, right, Albith?
Myself, yeah. For a moment, I forgot that I was in that one. Yes.
Yeah, you were.
Sorry, guys. I remember the N60. There was an N64 one and a PS1. Yeah. But there's definitely more to talk about. I mean, we could. Yeah. That's a recurring theme, I think. Just how to teach these practices.
Yeah.
In a changing environment.
Exactly. Yeah. But apart from that, as I said, we also probably did some stuff related to games. So it will be interesting to kind of review that. I'm actually this is gonna be kind of random, but I don't know what you guys felt about God of War winning the best game in the Game Awards. But I actually feel like it's deserved, and I think that game is amazing. I don't know if you guys were able to play it or maybe even watch like a playthrough or something. for that game. But I think it's a masterpiece. Like it's really 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 awesome. So that was one of the highlights for me. The fact that again, I know that the Game Awards are not necessarily so important. You know, at the end of the day, they're kind of like they're trying to be Oscars, you know, for games, but they're not quite there yet. Or I don't know how much that affects actually how like if the game sells or anything. But
sorry, who runs the Game Awards? Who's
I think that I'm not sure that his name, but I think that like the host of the Game Awards is a big part of it. Like I think he is a guy that he kind of oversees the whole organization of it, and maybe even producing it. I'll have to get his name, but because I'm not sure. But he seems genuinely interested in celebrating games, so I like that. I like the fact that like there is like a more. I mean, it's weird to say it this way, but not elite, but maybe so, yeah, like they put it on a pedestal, you know, like they put games on a pedestal for one moment instead of just being that random thing that you enjoy, you know. And I think that that's interesting. I like that. But I feel like because usually in those type of events, it's basically a popularity contest, right? Whichever game is more popular usually wins everything. And everybody thought that Red Dead Redemption 2 was gonna win every single award, you know, in the ceremony. But everybody thought that God of War probably deserved it more because of what it was able to accomplish with Kratos and the fact that they were able to take such a one-dimensional character and make him relatable and almost like Father of the Year, almost like they had the potential. I feel like that's not easy to do, and the fact that they were able to do it is just amazing. We actually did a podcast about that, about why we love that game. But I don't know if you guys played it, but if you haven't, I think that's one of those games that you just have to play, you know. And is really well done, and is one of the highlights for me, particularly for the year. I think it's amazing. But anyway, like, do you guys have something that you would like to share, like something that kind of took you by surprise, or something that was just enjoyable to do, you know, or something that you discovered, you know, gaming wise, or an event that you kind of went for the first time in this year?
So I haven't been able to play God of War yet, but I have some like clips of gameplay and throughout the year, and I thought that, you know, it looked pretty.
It's awesome.
It looked awesome. Pretty, yeah, it looked incredible. But I mean, so does Red Dead Redemption too. It also, they both look incredible. I still want to play both of them still. But
it's not a commitment. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it is.
Yeah, it looks great. I'm checking it out right now.
I'm not sure. Is the director of God of War different from the God of War 2 and 3, or was it the same director?
I'm not sure. I know that there's somebody that kind of came back, you know, to direct this one or to work on this one, and they really wanted to like give Kratos more of a character, you know. They wanted to make more depth to him and really show the potential that he has as a character. And again, the names escape me right now, but I know that it isn't like a completely new team, you know, working on this game. It is. I think it's like a mix between new people and old people from the franchise that really love it, and they were able to kind of push it further. Again, in the fourth game in the franchise, which is not easy to do. Like usually when you're in the fourth game of any franchise, you're already spent. You know, like you don't know what else to do, and they were able to kind of make, to me, the best God of War game from the whole like from the franchise with this one. And that's why I feel like it's so amazing, because it goes to show people how, if you really like invest time trying to understand your characters, understand your world, understand what you're trying to achieve, you will, and just getting that attention to detail, it will pay off. It will make your game better. Which is something that I always felt like the other God of Wars kind of missed a little bit. Again, not that much, because if you play them, there's so many references. It kind of fits the whole Greek mythology thing, that is very bloody and all that stuff. But
I think it was actually originally supposed to just be one game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was directed by David Jaffe.
Exactly.
After that, but...
yeah, Anyway, I have my opinions about the God of War franchise in general, but this one just blew my mind. Again, I was expecting this to be a really bad game, to be honest. Like, I just
better.
I thought it was going to be a cash grab, because when I first heard about the game, they were talking about it being in like Nordic mythology, or Norse mythology, I should say. But Kratos was still there, and I was like, but why is a Greek god here? Like, they could just make another franchise with another character. Like, why is it always Kratos? And I just thought it was going to be just another cash grab. Like, yeah, you killed all the Greek gods in the other games. Now you get to kill all the Norse gods, and that's basically the idea, like gore and violence and whatever. But man, did they just not do that? I mean, there's that, of course, but not only toned down, but with a very interesting perspective into a character that I've never thought I would like, ever. Again, I hated Kratos. I thought he was super one-dimensional, super like boring, to be honest. Like, he was just an angry dude that wanted to kill everything in his way. That's it. That's Kratos.
So how does the character? How did they?
Again, you should play it. You should play it.
Okay.
But the most amazing thing for me, and after this, I do kind of want to move to other maybe other games. But the most important thing that they did was that they didn't shy away from his past. They actually used his past to enforce a new, like, it's almost as if that Kratos that I was mentioning, right, the one that was really angry and did everything, he eventually got his revenge, which was what he was looking for, and he was still empty. Like, he was still alone. He basically, like, he got it, but he wasn't happier or anything. And he was able to kind of, think about it, think about what that meant to him. And in this game, he has like a son, and he wants his son to be different from him. But that background that he had from being so violent, he kind of sees that on his son sometimes, and he has to kind of stop him. But at the same time, who is he to stop him, when he did all that stuff? So the awesome part to me was that they didn't just kind of retcon the whole thing. They used the fact that he was this murder hobo character, and made him into a relatable character in the sense of, I can understand why he would think this way. I understand why he's being so protective, why he's being, because he's very, in the game, he's very strict with his son, to the point that sometimes the song is kind of going, like, he wants a little bit of I don't know, like pampering or anything, and Kratos just doesn't do it. Like, he just tells him, I think there's even one point where he says, like his son says, "I'm sorry," and he tells him, "Don't be sorry, be better." Very strict with him, very to the point, and but again, it's just very interesting. I don't want to really spoil that much because many things happen inside the game, but Kratos is different, and he's different because of what he did in his past, and again, the fact that they were able to do that is just amazing to me. Like, that's not something that's easy to do, and particularly when people have known a character for so long, and they expect many things from him. That's very difficult to do. Like usually people are kind of shun that away at the moment you stray away a little bit from the path. And I think that in the majority, people kind of embrace these new creators. Like they like these new creators way much more than the old one. I mean, of course, there are people that not necessarily are gonna be agreeing with that, but again, I just think it's a masterpiece for the fact that they were able to do this with an established character, which is not easy to do, and the game itself is awesome. Like it looks amazing. It feels amazing to play. It has many, like you can explore many things, and they're able to use the Norse mythology to like. In the pockets that I did, I had I think one of the guests was did her
master's
thesis. Thank you. Yeah, on Norse mythology, and she's
nice.
like a master of that. And she told me that when she played the game, she was dumbfounded. Like it was so amazing to her what they were able to do. With the Norse mythology, and even incorporating creators into it in a way that made sense to the Norse mythology, which is kind of like, what? I didn't even think that was something that they did. And she told me, yeah, there's a god in Norse mythology that is kind of, nobody knows where that god came from, and that god has to do something with one of the biggest gods from Norse mythology. And she said, yeah, it will make sense that Kratos could be that god, So they went for it, man. Like they really studied their like what they were doing, and they did a really good job at it. So
Cool.
I recommend that game like 100%.
That's awesome.
So anyway, Carlo, do you have something that you really liked in 2018? Something that you maybe didn't thought you would like, or maybe you actually thought that you were looking forward to, right? And it met your expectations or something like that?
Well, actually, like something that I was not anticipating at all, but I thought was like pretty neat, and I found it to be somewhat mind-opening in a sense, was one part of the Game Awards event was that they promoted a group or an organization called Able Gamers, which is like an organization that like helps people with disabilities to still be able to game. And so earlier in the year, there was a conference called Digital by Design here in Puerto Rico. And they also had their own little competition of video games as well as apps. And so the actual winner for the video game section was a blind developer.
Nice.
Was creating sort of like educational games for people with somewhat disabled.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought that was really amazing.
Did you happen to catch like what software he used? How did he make this? How did he create this application?
No, I don't recall him going that much in depth regarding the development, and I wasn't able to stay that long afterwards. And I can't find any articles right now on, yesterday I was looking for it to see if I could find articles on that event. I couldn't find any.
That's fascinating to me. Well, I think I definitely have to look into that. Because I've been when I've been in school, like the last time there was a student that was also blind, I think completely or visually impaired. I don't know what the correct language is nowadays, but he. Well, I remember he was just saying on one of these IBM laptops, the ones the ThinkPads, but well, and he was just coding, he was just writing, he knew his interface inside and out, but then he had he was just using a dictation software.
Yeah.
So he was he was basically getting dictated whatever was being output on the screen was being dictated to him, and it was cool because you could sort of hear it.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. Just how is it that one could program without using one site? That's a really fascinating thing.
What was he alone, or was he with like a group? I don't know if you know that much.
No, I'm not. I don't know that much. Perhaps like somebody else helped him, but it was pretty small.
Yeah, small.
Okay. So I imagine that it was just him for the most part.
Wow. No, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
Was this? So this wasn't a game competition per se, right? It was just more of a. Was it a hackathon or? Kind of
it had like two sections to it. It had the video game section, which developers would be able to submit their games to see if they could win the competition, and then they had the just regular mobile application section.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And apart from that, is there like a particular game or something that you played that you really liked, or maybe even replayed? Because I actually replayed some games this year.
Lately, I've been playing Rocket League and Overwatch for the most part.
Okay.
Cool.
I know Rocket League is just such a simplistic game that is just still super popular, and it's mind-blowing sometimes.
I was gonna tell you that I started playing FIFA because of the episode that we did. Because there was like a discount or something, and I said if I don't buy it now or play it now, I don't think I will do it unless there was like a free version or something. At least to try it at first, right? I wasn't gonna buy it like at the full price. Not for anything in particular, but because if I'm not sure, right, if I'm gonna like the game, and I'm not such a fan of the sport per se, it's not gonna be something that I'm gonna go towards, right? But anyway, I took the chance to play it, and it's really fun. I really got into it, and actually kind of like the sport more because of it. Which I guess that's the point, right, of those games, to let everybody kind of have the experience. And I think something that happened to me was that I kind of understood the game more by playing the game, of course, because if you don't understand the rules, you're gonna lose all the time. So I started to understand why certain things that I found kind of weird in the like the actual game or the actual sport, I should say. There's things that I will go like, well, why are they doing that? I found myself doing them in the game, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's why they do that, and it just made me appreciate the sport that much more. So still a bit confused, and eventually I might talk to you, Carlo, so that you can maybe explain the different cups and different divisions, because it seems like there's like a billion of them. Throughout the world.
There's a ton. It's the most popular sport in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
How, Gabriel, I'm curious. So you played FIFA before you?
No. I mean, I think that maybe at some point I had an experience with it, but I never really got into it. Like I never really tried to like, maybe I played it because somebody else was playing it, and I took the controller and I tried to do goals or something. But it was never like my game or something that I experienced from start to finish.
I haven't played it either. And Carlo, I imagine you played FIFA for a while, the franchise and everything.
Yeah. No, Carlo is like a fan. I mean, we did an episode of Why We Love for FIFA, and he was there. So you can expect that he would like it.
I played very few sports games.
Yeah, I only really played 2K, like the 2K for NBA.
Basketball.
Yeah, for because that's the sport that I really enjoy. And to be fair, like from NBA to like football,
Yeah.
There's it's a little bit jarring to kind of understand the whole idea of going from like games that end at 80 points to 76 points or something like that, or 100 points to a game that might even end up at 0-0 in a football game. But anyway, it's just interesting that a game can do that to you, right? Like I went into it really understanding what they were, because in the podcast they were really like geeking out about it, right? They were really talking about all the things that they love about the game, and that made me curious about like, what if somebody that doesn't really like the sport played it, you know? Like, what will their perspective be? And I tried it myself, and I
like it.
As I said, I liked it, and I like football way more now because of it. So that was an interesting experience. Yeah.
So playing sports games is a way to understand the sport more. I think I'll be interested in doing that with baseball, because I was watching a bit of the playoffs. What is it?
The World Series.
The World Series.
Yeah.
So that's how much I know, guys. That's how much I know. Yeah. The reason I was watching it is because the coach of the Red Sox is Puerto Rican, right? So.
Yeah.
So and then they were showing some of the highlights over here, and it was, of course, when you watch the highlights, then you see the most exciting bits of what is really a long game.
True.
Yeah.
But there were some great plays in the World Series.
You learn to appreciate it a lot more. But there's something about the fact that you are the one making the decisions, and you have to do it at that moment.
Yeah.
That makes it that much more like, suddenly you understand, wow, it's not that easy, you know. Stuff that you like, for example, something that I always criticize about football before I played it, or played the game, I should say, was that there should be more goals. Like, it shouldn't be that difficult to do that. And when I started playing it, I went, oh, so that's why it's so difficult. Like, it's not that easy to kind of make everybody. Something that I can appreciate a lot more now is that like the field where they play is really, really big, right? And the fact that they have to somehow synchronize with each other, but being so apart from one another, and having to make those passes and being quick enough to get to the pass and kind of try to wrestle against another player that is trying to take that away from you, and go forward and then know where everybody is, and they look so small compared to where you are, right? That's a marvel, like, in itself. And those were things that when I saw the game, I was like, well, they're professionals. That's something that they should be able to do easily. But to be fair, and again, probably for them, it's not such a big deal. But it's still something that is really difficult to like. How can you make all of those people work together to make even one goal? You know, and that's kind of the interesting part of it. Like, I found myself kind of going, okay, so I should put this person here because I know he's a greater passer than this guy, and I should make them try to get me, so this person is free, but I have to be careful that somebody doesn't get too far, because if they get too far, you kind of lose your turn or something, and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, so that's why people like this game, because the idea of them being able to even pass the ball to a point where they can make the goal is super difficult, and the fact that they're able to do it is even amazing in its own right. So I don't know, it just made me appreciate that much more when I was like, oh, when I have to do it, even with something in a computer, right? It's not real, right? In real life, it doesn't require that much skill from the body for me to be able to make a goal, right? in the game.
Yeah.
Even so, I could appreciate, wow, like that's super difficult. I can't even imagine how they do it when they're in the field. That doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, again, it's just that the idea that it makes you understand. It basically simplifies, right, the idea of what the game is to a point where you can play it on a controller, right? And you feel like you have all the control. And even then, you understand, like, wow, this is not that easy. And to be really good at it, you have to really understand who you're playing with, who your different players are, and yeah, how to make them work together to be able to do that. And I could always appreciate that from the NBA games, and now I can appreciate that on the FIFA games. Anyway, it's just something that happened this year that I kind of let myself try it out, and it was really, really, really cool.
Sure.
I guess, Carlo,
Yeah.
thank you for for geeking out about it so that I could try it out. It was really fun.
I want to learn.
yeah.
Yeah, I would use it to like learn some of the technical terms and some of the lore and some of the culture surrounding the game. Because I was looking into baseball a little bit, and it's like, wow, there's so much here.
No, yeah, definitely.
And it takes a while for you to get into it.
Exactly. Yeah. But by the way, Albith, is there anything that you would like to mention from 2018 before we go too much in depth with baseball and football?
No. I wanted to mention. Well, I guess it's two things. But they're related to VR.
Okay.
And here's how I'll get into it. I've been to several events here in South Korea, and so one of them was an indie convention, independent games convention. It's held in the city of Busan, which is in the south, in the southeast corner of the peninsula. What really makes it stand out to me, as opposed to other game conferences or events, was how what's the level of involvement from different, you could say, stakeholders, because it was the first time I saw independent developers. I saw the governments in the form of the city, the municipality, what would be called in Puerto Rico, but the city was involved. There was academia involved, and there was industry involved. And so, and also, if you went to the event, of course, you could also play games. But there were talks, and if you went to the talks, they were being translated into English. Okay, so anyway, this event was perfect. I would recommend it. And so anyway, that was something that stood out to me, that being able to create an event like that. This is called the Busan Indie Connect Festival. Okay, by the way.
Okay.
So guys in Batu, definitely send over some games.
So we should go there. I mean,
yes. Yes.
I mean, when I can get to South Korea, then sure.
I'm not sure how the arrangement works, but there were several, international teams. There were teams from Europe, the States.
Okay. Yeah.
So there was that, and then and not only that. So what conferences are doing nowadays, especially the indie folks, what they're doing is that they make a conference, right? And they pick and choose some of the best games, some of the more interesting games, and then what they'll do is they'll take that and they will take it to other conferences. So it's kind of like a caravan,
Okay.
So
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So like, say you were at E3, you would wander into a corner of the conference, and then you would see like, oh, this is the best of Indiecade. This is the best of the Busan Festival.
Oh wow, that's
and
interesting.
so they've been doing that, and actually that's how I got to play some of their games this year.
Okay.
I was at another conference. I was at a more like, typical classical game conference with lots of special effects and loud music and a lot of merchandise and cosplayers walking around.
Yeah.
And I was able to play a game there. I recommend this game, by the way. It's a VR game, and it's called Throw Anything.
Okay.
Yeah, and I like it because in the game it's very simple. You are visiting a friend in an apartment, right?
Okay.
And the apartment is in a high building. So there's several stories, and if you look out the window, you can see all the way down to the street. And zombies are coming to get you, right? So it's kind of a defense game.
Okay.
And the zombies are climbing the building. Okay. And what you have to do is what is being suggested in the title. You have to throw anything at them. What you do is you well, I was just engaged to C5, but you select items and then you throw them down in the floor.
Okay.
Try to hit as many zombies. And it's fun. I mean, because it's one of those things where you're doing something that you secretly would like to do at some point, throw things.
Yeah.
But because you don't want to break any laws, then you don't do it. But and another cool thing is that and I think they got the throw mechanic is fun, but then there's also the challenge where, because you're basically picking things from this person's room and you're throwing it down, right? So eventually you're going to run out of things, or you might be left with things that are too heavy to pick apart. So what you can do is you can throw small things at bigger things.
Okay.
You can pick up. So you can pick up like let me see, something heavy. You can pick up a screwdriver and throw it at a table, and that will break the table into smaller pieces, so that you can then throw the pieces of the table.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. So and they managed to make this really fun. I was having fun throwing things out, and there's some bit of disbelief because the things that you throw, like basically there's a robot that takes the things that you throw down, and that robot will pick those things up and will take the elevator and take them back to your room. So it's kind of, it doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense. It's just fun. From the game, from a developer point of view, it's like, oh, this is how. So you have infinite objects to throw, but there's a slight delay.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a fun game. And the reason I like it, one of the reasons I like it is because it's one of those VR games where you're stationary.
Yeah. You're
standing still. Because what I've noticed is that I've always been, I get dizzy very, very easily. Okay. So like especially if I'm in a moving vehicle and I want to read something, or I want to, or I try to see something on my phone, I'll get dizzy very, very quickly. Okay. So what that means is that I cannot play the VR games that involve the user getting on some sort of vehicle. Okay. I can't do any of that. I tried playing a space shooting game and I got dizzy within like a minute. So I guess I'm restricted to the stationary VR games.
Okay.
Some of them. No, yeah, you go, Carlo. Yeah.
I know, like some of the VR games can be. Well, it depends on the person, but it can have a dizzying effect, and I guess that's been one of the pitfalls so
One
far,
of the main problems. Yeah.
but it's slowly trying to stabilize that aspect of it and find a little middle ground, if you will.
No, there has actually been. I've heard that there's been studies about it, like exactly what could be done to take out that effect, because there's been certain games that have appeared in VR recently that employ some sort of like blur effect to the sides of the screen. And apparently, those games are less dizzying than the usual variety of like you go on a vehicle, right, and do things. And apparently, that's something that has been studied. That supposedly it has to do with the idea of kind of really trying to emulate, how the actual eye works, so that when you're in the VR, you don't feel that out of place, because the dizziness effect usually comes from the fact that your body recognizes that this is not completely real, and the fact that like the movement in the game is not the same as your body will expect normally, and you may not notice it per se, but your body does. And there's been a lot of like movement towards trying to make that work out better, for everybody, so that not everybody gets dizzy playing these games. So it's really interesting. There's been a couple of games recently that have come out that are for racing games or something like that, and they employ that blurriness effect, or they have some lines that kind of center your brain towards, okay, so I'm inside something and I'm trying to kind of go ahead, and usually that helps or something. Again, this is really interesting because it's not like stuff that you will say is obvious, but they are really working with it to make that happen. So it's really interesting that they are doing that. But for now, I still think that as you were saying, Carlo, it is still a big problem for VR. There's still many people that just can't play it because they just get dizzy, and that's a big issue. But
I have one thing related to the VR thing. I don't have VR equipment to play those games. I don't know about you guys, but
no, I don't.
I do actually, but I'm gonna talk about that soon.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because the other thing I was gonna mention is that and this did not start this year, but I'm seeing more and more VR arcades, you could call them, or VR theme parks. It depends on how and how they want to market this, right?
Yeah.
But at least here in Asia, the way I've seen this being advertised is that, here in Asia, we don't have a lot of real estate, right? We don't have a lot of space of land. Most people live in apartments, in high-rise buildings. So, and on top of that, there's air pollution, and maybe there's really cold winters,
Okay.
So then VR is kind of a way to escape. VR is a way to travel and to play games or to. So it's cool because they advertise it to maybe families or older people. This is how they advertise it. You can travel, right?
Yeah.
But for kids, they say like, hey, you guys want to do like physical exercise, but you don't want to go outside because of air pollution or because it's really cold. Oh, you can do this in a VR theme park.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing that since last year, and I think, the business model I think seems to be working. I'm wondering if you guys have seen this, where in Puerto Rico, where you're at, or anywhere else.
The closest thing I've seen to that was there's a Dave & Buster's here in Puerto Rico. I don't know if there's many of them, but there's one in Bayamon, which is where I live. And for the movie Jurassic World, they brought VR game to the Dave and Buster's, and people could make a line to kind of play the game, or like take turns or something, and that's the closest thing I've seen to that. Like the idea that people were able to experience being in a car. They were basically on a jeep, and they had to kind of shoot the dinosaurs and escape from Jurassic World or something. And for many people, that was like their first experience with VR, because as you were saying, Albith, like there's not too many people that have the equipment, right? So that's the closest thing I've seen to what you're saying, that an arcade has a VR thing in it. And as far as I understand it, it was a one-time thing. I don't think it's there anymore. But I do think that there are other, maybe other VR experiences that are coming to the place. I'm not sure which ones, but I've heard a lot of they want to kind of move in that direction. So maybe we might see a lot more of those things that you're mentioning here in like the western side.
I was mentioning to Carlo that that's where I first found out that I cannot play these games with with where you're in a vehicle or you're in a spaceship. I can't play it for very long because I think it's maybe I haven't played the correct game,
Yeah.
I remember like I was playing this racing game and just there was some extreme camera shake. And I've forgotten the term for this, but shock, right? Vibration function.
Yeah.
With what you would have in a controller, but you have it in the whole vehicle. It was too much.
No, yeah.
So maybe it's a question, it's a design issue. But yeah, what I just played the games where you're just standing up, and those were fine. Those were fine. Yeah, but I'm so it's basically, it's an opportunity for game developers to design kind of, it's almost like designing a theme park ride.
Exactly.
Because it's a short experience. You're probably, you might not play it. There's not a lot of replay value to it. I mean, you could try it. You could get on. It's like a theme park. Like a roller coaster ride. Maybe you get on it 3 or 4 times, but it's not going to change that much.
No,
unless you add some randomness to it. So I guess it's interesting in that sense.
No, true that. There's actually, it's incredible that they really haven't. They're still figuring out what games to make, for VR. Like they're not exactly sure what type of game works for it. Even though, like those games like Time Crisis and like the light gun shooters will be perfect for for VR. And there's actually a game right now that's I think it's called Until Dawn. The game Until Dawn.
Oh,
they made a light gun shooter game for Until Dawn. And basically what happens in the game is that you don't really move you are on a roller coaster basically, but you are shooting stuff that is around, right? And it's really interesting because it's really fun, first of all, and they use the graphics from the game, which are really amazing, and they create like these monsters that are kind of around you the whole time. So you have the VR experience, and you're basically like in a haunted house, but you're going through it like just having that action experience, almost like a House of the Dead type of vibe. And again, it's one of the best games on the VR. I recommend it. If you have a VR, you should play that game, because there's even a point where there's this giant spider that comes and tries to attack you, and you literally see the spider like up in your face, and it it doesn't look real, of course, because you know you're in a digital world, but it's really amazing what they're able to do with the graphics, and you're able to look all around, right, in the VR setting, so you feel like you're there. Another game that I know that did something like that was the latest Resident Evil, like the 7, this Resident Evil 7.
The VR one?
It has a VR option, right? You can play it without VR.
Yes.
But the VR, everybody that I've heard that has played the game, everybody says that VR is the true way to play that game. Like if you play it normally, you should play VR, because VR is actually like the best experience for that game. And supposedly it's kind of the best game for VR at the moment. Like if you really want to experience what VR can do and get into the idea of it, that's the best one. And it actually, supposedly, it really helps with the aiming and all that stuff, which again kind of brings up a lot of questionable things that could be done with VR. But essentially, since you're in the game, you're right in the actual place. Every sense that you have of accuracy, and not even that, but the fact that you are like, there's a game right now. I'm kind of jumping between games because I want to mention some of them. But there's a game right now called Tetris Effect that I don't know. It kind of released recently.
It was nominated in the Game Awards, right?
Yeah, so it's basically, in a few words, it's Tetris, like the normal Tetris that you know and love. But each level has like a different song and a different art style. And it's very beautiful, and the songs are really cool. And you're basically playing Tetris, and every time you clear a line or you move a piece, the music kind of doesn't change, but it kind of plays depending on how well you're doing. So the longer you are able to make lines and destroy the Tetrises, the more the song progresses and you get that experience, right? But you can play the game VR. And apparently, they found out that when people play the game VR, they do better, like almost all the time, than when they're not in the VR setting. And it's kind of weird, because you would think it would be the other way around, because with the VR, you're kind of not that comfortable. You have it in your face, right? And it might not be that comfortable for people to play it. But apparently, it does the exact opposite. It makes people feel like they're so into the game that they're literally into it, you know? Yes, that they concentrate much more, and they basically enter this state of mind where they're basically one with the game. Almost like a Neo thing. Like they're one with the Matrix, and they basically are able to be like do things almost instinctively, which is kind of weird, you know. Like that's very weird stuff that can be done with that, like Black Mirror stuff. If you know.
Yeah, this looks beautiful.
Series. Yeah.
Wow, this is gorgeous.
That's
okay.
And imagine seeing that, like you see those things around you. You're basically on that, like on a firework display, and the fireworks are very different from one another. So you're basically, there's even people that use it, like somebody plays the game and somebody has the VR, so they just get to experience the thing. So there's even that idea of it. But again, there's a lot of things that are being done with VR. And actually, I do want to ask you guys what you're looking forward to in 2019, right? And my thing is VR. So when you mention it, because basically I recently got, I didn't get it myself, but I have access to it. But VR equipment, right?
What is it?
PSVR. Yeah, PlayStation VR. And I in a few words, we got that one because it was there's many games for it at the moment. There's a lot of games, of course, for PC, but like the only console VR stuff that's going on right now is the PSVR. I believe that there's even a really good game that came out for PSVR that people say is one of the best, called Astrobot or something like that. I think it won something in the Game Awards. But I am really looking forward to having that experience because I don't think you know this, Albith, but Carlo does know. But at the beginning, when we first heard about the VR, I wasn't really into it. I shunned the idea of ever playing VR. I think it was because of the hype that was surrounding it. Usually, when a game or something has a lot of hype surrounding it, unless I'm particularly interested in that subject, I get turned off from it. So the fact that people were kind of saying like VR was gonna change gaming forever, like it was gonna be the thing that will make you stop playing normal, and now everything's gonna be VR, stuff like that, at the beginning of the whole VR introduction. I kind of went the other way around and was like, nope, I don't care. I don't think this is gonna be as big as people say it is. To an extent, I was kind of right because it didn't necessarily revolutionize gaming. It was just another medium that you could basically play it on, which is okay. But basically, I wasn't really interested in the idea of even trying it out because I basically said like, no, I won't be part of that ridiculous hype that people have for it. But as time went on, I saw people kind of experiencing it and being able to kind of do different things with it. And the fact that I was saying that people really get into the games and even much more than if they were just playing it on normal TV. And games like, there's a game called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, which is an experience where one person is playing the game, like the PSVR game, and the other people around you act like voices in your head, basically, and they kind of help you to solve puzzles, or in this case, there's a bomb and you have to defuse it. But the only ones that know how to defuse the bomb are the people around you, so they all have like manuals, and you basically have to tell them, I have like a timer here, and there's letters, and somebody has to look for the manual and see what those letters mean. And they have to ask you, like, what do you see? And you have to tell them what you see because they can't see what you're seeing, right? So the fact that they were able to even create that experience in VR kind of made me understand or realize, wow, this can bring about a new level of experience that a normal game couldn't really do that much, right? And it's really interesting.
It's a multiplayer game?
It's technically multiplayer in the sense that everybody, like, you can play with many people, but essentially it has to be a two-player game in the sense that somebody has to be in the VR and somebody else has to be reading the manual, because you can do both things, right? But the person that's reading the manual is not in the VR as well. So basically, it's weird, right? Because it's a multiplayer game where only one person is in the VR headset, but everybody has fun, and everybody gets to get a turn, in the PSVR, and trying to defuse the bomb and all that. But again, it's just really interesting. I'm really looking forward to having way more experiences with it. There's a game called Super Hot that came out for indie. It's an indie game, for PC. And in a few words in the game, you basically it's a shooter, but you have to. It's a shooter puzzle, basically, because you're put in certain situations and you have to kill everybody in the room. But basically, every time you move, everybody else moves. So if you stop moving, the time stops in the room. Like, nothing is moving around you. So you get this opportunity to kind of really think about what your next step is going to be. To be able to, to complete the puzzle. So it's interesting that way. So they put that experience in VR, and it's amazing because you literally, I mentioned before, like, you were Neo in the Matrix. Here you are Neo in the Matrix because you're able to, like, somebody shoots you with a bullet, right? And you are able to dodge the bullet because you see its trajectory, and since you stop time, you know where it's gonna hit, so you just move out of the way, and then you can take something from the ground, throw it to that person, dodge another bullet, and that idea is really, really interesting. And
So
yeah, it's really, really fun. Like I really want to play this game. Yeah,
I was wondering. So you said this is a PC game. So
it was a
I'm
PC game,
wondering-
and then they adapted it to PSVR. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm assuming. Yeah, I guess you can. It's not like the Oculus or the Vive, right? It's you can't develop a game for the PSVR using Unity.
Actually
I
not
guess you would have to
sure.
pay, right? You would have to
Exactly.
pay.
Yeah. I think that you can. Yeah, but you have to. It's way less free, I guess, than if you made it for the PC, and that's it. But
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened. I don't know if you can already play Superhot on the PC with the Oculus or something, or if it was something where PlayStation saw the potential of the game and they kind of paid for it, for the exclusivity of it in PSVR. But anyway, it's a game that is really, really, it's one of the best games to play in the VR. So I'm excited to play it again and to completion. And the other last thing that I'm going to mention about the VR that I'm really looking forward to is that I mentioned Astrobot, and there's another game called Moss, which is kind of interesting, which they are literally adventure puzzles. And the interesting part of that, because it never occurred to me that could happen. You're basically playing the game, and to solve the puzzles, you have to literally look around the room to be able to see what you can use from it to solve the puzzle. So you know that usually when you have a puzzle in a game, they place stuff on it in such a way where you either have to move the camera to explore the room and see what you have, or you basically have everything already there. So you know every single piece that you have to use. You have to figure out how to use it, right? In that game, you literally have to, if there's a box right in front of you, you have to manually or physically, I should say, if you want to see what's behind it, you have to move your head and basically look behind it to see what is there, and use that information to then use your avatar inside the game to move it or something. And that's amazing to me. Like, it's really interesting the fact that they're able to use the idea that it's almost as if you had a miniature version of it physically, like a Lego building or something, and you're able to look around it, in physical, like in real life, but you have it in the VR, and you get to have that experience. And those two games are really interesting for that. Like the Moss one is about a little mouse that's kind of like, it's almost like a fairy tale, and that's how the whole game is kind of the aesthetic of the game is like that. And you are going around, you fight stuff, but to be able to solve the puzzles, you have to move certain aspects of the stage. You have to look around it to understand where the mouse has to go and what he has to activate to be able to move forward. And you have a lot of depth progression, and you see the depth, you see the mouse going away and then coming back. It's really, 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 really interesting. And the Astrobot one is also kind of cool in that sense as well, because you have to move around, but there are certain points where there's obstacles. Like there's one point where there's like a scaffold basically something. Let's say a glass, right? That is in the front of the screen, and your avatar can really move through it, right? Because it's glass and it's too strong for it to break it. So you have to manually, with your head, do like a headbutt motion to break the glass.
Wow.
so that
Wow.
the avatar gets to keep moving forward. So
Wow.
you see, like I really want to experience what people come up with, because it is really interesting that people are finally understanding that creating games for the VR is not the same as just creating any game for for normal circumstances, right? For a console or the stuff
regular
like
console and
because
wow.
at first I think that people kind of went crazy with the idea of any game could be put there, and it's like, no, okay, so wait a moment, it's not any game. You have to really work for it. You know, you have to make an experience that works with the idea that you have that depth, that you have that idea, or that opportunity to really use that. Again, as you can tell, I'm really excited about it because I've been talking about it.
I've never heard you this excited about VR before.
Yeah,
guess-
again, it's really interesting. It's really I'm
You
really
can
interested
put me-
in having that experience.
Yeah, put me in the group that's excited about VR for the next year. Also, it's within the school, and you know a lot, Gabriel. By the way, you know about a bunch of games. But you know, it's cool because it's there's a lot of possibilities, and there's also a lot of options. I'm sorry, it's very portable also.
True.
So I think students like it because, you know, you want to make a VR game, you can just buy a VR cardboard,
Exactly.
which is very cheap,
Yeah.
and then you can just attach it to your phone, and that's it. You know, I'm next to my office. There's a motion capture equipment that's just sitting there catching dust.
Okay.
You know, as there are many, I think there's several motion capture rooms,
Okay.
you know, in different schools that are not being used that much anymore, you know, and that's like at least like $100,000 investment, right? So compare that to just being able to buy a cardboard equipment, you know.
Okay.
It's very, it's much more the word I was thinking of, approachable, appealing, for a student to just get up and running with creating VR experiences.
I actually even heard that, and again, I'm not super entirely sure if this is actually happening or something, but like, there's even an idea that somebody had to create a game where you experience what it's like to be blind. So it's like using the VR, which is, again, you know, there's so many possibilities that you can do with it, and it's really, really interesting to me. But anyway, this is not gonna be like the PR episode, the VR episode, I should say. So
there will be a VR episode then.
Yeah,
Nice.
I definitely should. Yeah. But like, is there anything that you guys are looking forward to in 2019?
Well, I already said mine. I'm piggybacking on what you said.
But is there any game or something that you're looking forward to, Albith? Or
I know less than you do. How about that? Yeah.
Or any event or something
But
that you're looking forward to?
Well, more. Let's see. I'm going to a VR theme park again just to see what's new. I'm going again this week.
Okay.
And yeah, just more indie projects. Check out Throw Anything. I think it's already out.
Okay.
Other than that, I played other games, but not that excited about them. So.
Okay.
Cool. Are you going to the Global Game Jam, or is there a game jam going on next?
Global Game Jam. There is. It's rough. Well, here in Korea, I would say people. So people are very oriented towards here in Korea. So it's kind of, it feels like Puerto Rico. It feels like a smaller area in a sense because you know, in Puerto Rico, like for a lot of things, you want to be in San Juan.
Yeah, metro area.
Okay? Yeah. And it's kind of similar in Korea, despite the fact that there's a lot of infrastructure here. But then that being said, I'm noticing there's a lot of global game jam sites being set up. I think there's more than one in Puerto Rico, right?
There's at the moment.
That's
two.
awesome. That's awesome. Because here I tried. I basically I'm gonna have to do it at another time because there's the issue that people want to go to the capital city, but also the time that the Global Game Jam is held, which is end of January, that's the end of the academic year here in Korea. So most people are just going to their hometowns, and you know, if they're not that committed as game developers, they're just going to go home.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the issue I've had. So maybe in the summer, you know, Ludum Dare or other regional events are at a different time are more appealing to people here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Carlo, I imagine there's an event that you're looking forward to in 2019. But anyway, like, is there something else? I mean, you can mention that. We should mention that. But is there a particular game or something that you're looking forward to?
Game. Well, let's see. One thing I am perhaps not, I guess, excited wouldn't be the word, but I am intrigued is Nintendo Labo.
Okay.
I haven't been able to look that much more into it, but from what I've seen that they've presented and whatnot, it does seem interesting, similar to the VR. Except more hands-on. Then as for a game that I'm excited about, I guess it'd be the long-awaited Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, we have to see
provided
what
they
happens
don't
with
delay
that,
it again. So yeah.
Do you know the story till now, or are you kind of winging it?
Nah, I gotta get back. Gotta get up to date.
It doesn't make sense, dude. Like you should. Honestly, you can just play it.
I'm just waiting for them to do the Kingdom Hearts 3.25, and then I'll just get that version.
Yeah, exactly.
They keep releasing and re-releasing and releasing. But another game I'm also kind of looking forward to is the remaster of Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Okay.
Want to see if people are gonna actually go back into the world editor in that version.
Okay.
And start making their custom games. So I might try to look into it myself. So another game I'm looking forward to.
That's interesting. And well, the Global Game Jam in PR.
Yeah, the Global Game Jam Puerto Rico.
Yeah. We are really trying. At the moment, we're still trying for Ponce and Mayagüez, right? For there to be
Fajardo.
Fajardo, right? But Mayagüez is the one that confirmed. Yeah. But if we make that happen, there will be 4 game jams happening simultaneoly in Puerto Rico. So that will be amazing. That will be really, really awesome. But anyway, I think that's this is gonna be actually my first time on a game jam per se in ever. To be honest. So I've helped in some game jams, or I help in some way, but I've never really been on the I've never really attended one, or as a participant per se, or in this case, never really organized one. But I know why they happen. I know how people can use them to move forward. So I'm really excited, to be able to do this. The main reason why I never really tried it was because I didn't think I was going to be able to stay up for so long making those games. Because I usually get kind of cranky if I don't sleep. So I didn't really want to get that way in a public setting. So probably I wouldn't have, but it's just something that I was kind of I don't know if I will be able to do it or whatever. But anyway, I'm really excited for it. So, and Carlo is gonna be. I mean, this is the second. No, this is the third time you've been organizing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's super awesome. So How does it feel, man? How does it feel this being your third time doing this?
It feels, I don't know, it's very different because like now it's on a larger scale as well. So it's, it's tough in the sense that, we're scrambling to get stuff together and find sponsors and make sure that the other jam sites actually go ahead with their, own organization, because it's not like we're going to be organizing it for them per se.
Wow.
But it's definitely interesting to see like all this interest so far from what I've seen.
Definitely.
And I hope that it continues growing in Puerto Rico and doesn't end up resulting in just like all the most of the developers just leaving after they graduate.
True that.
But
Albith, you have to come here at some point. Then,
if I get a break, but so far, usually here, people celebrate the holidays in December, but it's not a major holiday.
Okay.
And actually, there's the winter semester that ends in the middle of January.
Okay.
So there's no, Three Kings Day is not being celebrated here either. Obviously. But yeah, it's that kind of limits. So it what usually happens is that Global Game Jam is a week after classes end.
Yeah.
So you can guess how the students would feel about going to a game jam.
Yeah.
A week after their final exams.
True that.
I do want to. I would like to come back and be
hopefully
in the island for those events.
Something that I'm really looking forward to in 2019 is just that the idea of being able to help the community and the industry Puerto Rico grow, right? Hopefully, as you were saying, Carlo, with these game jams and many things that are happening around us, maybe even with us, that could potentially make people not only have jobs in game making, right? But also opportunities and the fact that they get better at it, so that we can, improve our craft, right, for the future. All in an effort to basically maybe make a platform where people can start coming back, and maybe really help us keep this growing. And I think that's something I'm really looking forward to in 2019. And I'm sure it's not going to happen in 2019 because there's a lot that has to be done for that to happen. But maybe this might be the year, or that might be the year, I should say, where we see a really huge push for that, right? And I'm really happy to be part of that push. I'm really happy that you've been part of that push for a while, Carlo. and Albith, again, you've helped us, right, when you were here. And
we're just mere Padawans.
So we're basically kind of going ahead with what you did for us. And the idea that you kind of gave us a platform to talk and tell people about our experiences, even when we were just starting out. So I don't know. I feel like that there's a lot of love from people that are outside, from the island, still for the island, of course, and they really want to see everything grow. So we are basically trying to be that positive force, right? That makes this a reality. So again, something I'm looking really forward to in 2019 is to see that really big push, right, for that to happen, and I'm really glad to be part of that. So anyway, that's
yeah. And are you guys organizing the speakers or something? Because I'm seeing that several from overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we're trying to make the most of this, so that people really, really get the best of everything that we can provide, right? And not only us, but maybe inspire other people to like. That's the idea behind talking with the other sites, right? And it's something that Carlo really wanted to do when we first talked about organizing it. And basically, he told me, "I don't want this to be a thing where it's just us doing this. I want this to be a thing where many other people get not only the opportunity, but are able to have this experience and let everybody be able to kind of go somewhere and do this, right? Like people from Ponce or Mayagüez, it's kind of a hard bargain telling them to come to the metro area or to San Juan and stay there for 48 hours and then go back, It's very far away from home. So if we get to do it there, we not only spark or let them know that that's something that's happening also there, is also giving them the chance to be like, yeah, that's close to me, so I'm able to do it, So it's interesting because, the idea is to spark this creativity and this industry in every part of Puerto Rico. And of course, we're just choosing like some strategic places. But I think those are better than just saying San Juan, right? So again, that's the idea, right? The idea to make everybody grow together. And hopefully that's what happens. So anyway, again, this is kind of a very serious note that we kind of end on. But to be fair, it's just something that we're really passionate about. Is why we do games in the first place. That's why we entered this, because we wanted to be the ones that help make this happen. We weren't gonna wait for anybody to do it for us, so we just kind of tried to do it on our own. I don't know if that was a good choice or a bad choice. Maybe when we first started, but I feel proud of what we've been able to accomplish. So, but we really want people to do the same, and maybe between all of us, right, we have the actual power to make that happen. So, hopefully
it'd be worse if you hadn't done it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm almost 100% sure that if I hadn't done it, I would have been all the time thinking about what would have happened. I would have felt like I've never tried. So this is what I had to do. So, but anyway, again, guys, there's a lot of stuff that happened in 2018. Of course, without limit that I actually usually put on the on podcast for 1 hour. We're way over that. But even then, there's not enough time to be able to really talk about everything. So we just talk about some things, right, that came to mind at the moment. I'm pretty sure there are other things that I'm forgetting. Like, for example, I started playing for the first time Dungeons and Dragons this year because I wanted to experience what that was like, and it's been really awesome till for now. So that's something I would really like to talk about eventually. I'm pretty sure that you guys also have different specific things that you could talk about in many of your areas. You both teach, so I'm pretty sure you have certain moments that happen or stuff that you teach your students or something that was interesting, something that you learned this year. And there's, again, next year, there's like a lot of games coming. There's a lot of things happening in the industry. And after that game jam, who knows if more things start happening on the island. Regarding even more events or maybe more opportunities. I mean, who knows, right? So again, I see 2019 as a year of many changes and good ones at that. After Maria, the hurricane, it seemed kind of dour, like things seemed kind of down because many people left, and many companies that were established kind of disappeared. Maybe not necessarily because of the Hurricane Maria, but that didn't help at all. So again, I see the 2018 as a year where we kind of get up from that and we really push forward. So anyway, what in a few words, what I'm saying is that I want people, when you guys are listening or watching this podcast, to let us know what you liked from in 2018 on or what you're looking forward to, right, in 2019. We really love to know what you come up with or what you would like to see, you know. So thank you guys. Thank you, Carlo and Albith, for being with me in this episode. Thank you for being part of many of the episodes. Really, really, really glad and really appreciative that you guys said yes to being part of
No
them.
problem.
And it was always, as I said, when I created this podcast, it was an excuse to talk with people about stuff that I enjoyed talking about. And yeah, it was perfect doing it with you guys. So thank you for that. And hopefully in 2019 we keep doing it. There's too many topics that we have to talk about and even revisit some ones. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. Is there anything that you guys would like to plug in any sense? I mean, we already talked about certain things that we will plug, right, in 2018, but is there anything else that you guys would like people to check out or something like that? Carlo, is there something?
Just keep up to date with the game jam and also other opportunities that arise in order, like, also to go to like GDC.
Oh yeah, right.
Hopefully there'll be something more forthcoming, in the coming year when we get to find more information and be able to post it on Facebook or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you have something?
No, I'm good. That's I'm good for now. Just I have a website, albith.com. That's my name. I mean,
yeah.
But that's it for me. I'm just busy making materials for class, and I'm just staying on top of software updates and whatnot. Thank you, Gabriel, for the opportunity, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Exactly. Check that out. Check Albith's site out and check the Global Game Jam. And basically, what I can end with is the fact that, again, there's many episodes of What We Love. There's many episodes of The Usual Spot. There's a couple of episodes for Cast That. And the new one that we made, Estamos Aquí, which will kind of continue next year. We made those out of love. We really wanted to just give you not only our opinions and stuff in case you wanted them, but really an outlet to be able to talk about these topics and just geek out about them. Because if you see, many of the episodes are just about celebrating something and not necessarily about criticizing it that much. But independently, the point really was, apart from that, was to kind of let you know the different people that are here, right? Or are Puerto Ricans that are passionate about this. So you knew them and you know who they are. So to all our guests throughout the different episodes, thank you. Thank you a lot for being part of them. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for taking the time. And as I said to Carlo and Albith, hope you can do it next year. And to everybody that's listening and having been part of these episodes, again, I hope that maybe through them you you didn't meet them, but you heard about people and you checked stuff that they loved or they liked or they suggested. And because of that, you know more, or you're just richer in life. So anyway, that's what I hope with this. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for the support from the patrons. Thank you so much for support, just listening and liking the different episodes or our posts on Facebook or everything that we do. We really appreciate that. So just looking forward to 2019. Check those different episodes out if you haven't. And I think that with that we can end 2018 for this podcast. So see you guys next year, and I hope you have a good one. Later, guys.
Later.